problem is really the impact of agriculture onto the ecosystem.
Even though we're producing, in fact, more calories than is needed on the globe to feed the whole population, we still have 10 to 15% of the population that's food insecure.
We need to think of new ways of approaching food allergy.
Many people think that human impact on the environment is relatively recent, only since the Industrial Revolution. Many of us, however, think that's not the case.
Food allergies, for some people, are a life-threatening problem. There's no cures currently available. The prevalence is increasing, and that's the focus of our research. What could account for such a dramatic change? Our bodies are 99% microbial. We are populated on every mucosal surface and on our skin with an enormous array of bacteria, viruses, other organisms that we're just beginning to understand. Our hypothesis is that changes in our lifestyle practices have contributed to a dysregulation of the microbiome in a way that's promoting what's been called the diseases of Western society. So not just food allergy, but also inflammatory bowel disease, obesity, autism, diabetes. All of these diseases are increasing in parallel. We look to the microbiome as the explanation. Our lab is developing, based on our basic research findings, a completely new kind of treatment for food allergy and possibly other diseases. And we've just formed a new company on campus that's a collaboration between investigators at Argonne, at the Institute for Molecular Engineering, and in the BSD.
So I am an anthropologist, but also an archaeologist and environmental scientist. So I'm very interested in how humans have made and remade the earth. We suggest that there's actually been a much longer record of human impact and that farming has been a big part of that record. But we don't have the data to show that. So one of the things that I'm doing is co-directing a large international scientific working group called Land Cover 6K. And what we're doing is trying to reconstruct both land cover, so that's vegetation, and land use, patterns of human land use for the globe for the last 10,000 years. So there are about 120 people who are just the managers for each continent. The information about past vegetation is based primarily on pollen analysis. Pollen is a way, that's why I'm sniffling right now. Those of us with allergies know that pollen is constantly being produced, and in certain kinds of depositional environments, it settles down into deposits. And what we do is we take long cores of that sediment and study the pollen from the different layers in order to reconstruct past vegetation.
I'm pursuing several different initiatives, trying to find ways to use our landscapes. And when I talk about landscapes, I talk about agriculture and how agriculture is deployed on the land, so that we actually can maintain water quality in a way that's better than what we have now. We do that by matching particular crops with particular soil types and particular climates, so that ultimately every crop will grow in the place where it can actually do the best environmental service that it could under the current climate and future climate. A lot of our work has to do with field research, so we actually are in the field doing practical research. We have plots. We are using willow, which are bioenergy crops, to try to suck up pollution that is created by corn crops. We are really looking at the core of the commodity crop production, the fertile soils in Illinois, and looking at seeing where can we actually fit other things with this dual purpose of producing commodities, producing bioenergy, and producing ecosystem services.
Food shocks is a generic way of talking about extreme events in the global food system and how those extreme events affect food production and propagate through the system to affect populations, health, and nutrition. As the world becomes increasingly globalized and global trade becomes so important, especially for food, like a big shock like the 2012 drought in the US, actually radiates out through the global system. When prices suddenly double You get bread riots on the streets, which has been shown to largely have contributed to a lot of the riots of the Arab Spring, the civil war in Syria. These things have hugely interconnecting events, and if we can understand that, and if we can, create trade policies to try and encourage countries to maybe act in a more globally responsible way. And we also want to not just be able to quantify what shocks can happen, but we want to be able to predict what shocks are likely to happen, and even be able to track seasons by using real-time data streams, integrating remote sensing data, ensemble climate weather forecasts, and to be able to integrate all that data in real time in our modeling platform in order to predict emerging hotspots and vulnerabilities in food shocks.
It's not all up and it's not all down. Humans have done some good things and some bad things and things they probably didn't intend to do, but there are definitely sort of points of no return.
We are developing new strategies to restore function and prevent disease.
Climate change is another complicating factor in what is already a very, very challenging landscape for feeding the future.
We cannot make more land, we cannot make more soil. It's just to us to use what we have at its best.